This is Ayla Luke from WalkFusion.com. Today we're going to answer some questions from a new and small business owner. This particular person is one of our readers who sent us some questions about opening a small mobile type restaurant, and it's the type you might see on the side streets of Hong Kong or East Europe as well. Let's go ahead and start answering some of the questions for them. Question 1. Can we make all the seasonings and marinades for our restaurant dishes? We intend to make marinades for each dish and then do not add any spices while cooking. First of all, we must understand the differences between sauces, seasoning, and marinades. It would actually take some time to explain the differences between them, but we cannot answer them in the short paragraph here. We must probably discuss them, and you can look at some of the content or information on our website to get the clear definition on each one of these. But we interpret your question as the following. Can we place all of our seasonings, such as salt, sugar, hoisin sauce, soy sauce, all together to make one big sauce, and then use that sauce for cooking? If you want to make a sauce for a dish, it might be okay for the purposes of what you're doing here, but the food would taste much better if you place the spices or seasonings at specific times during the cooking process. When you do this will allow the food to absorb into the food quickly and properly. If you look at some of our sample recipes, you can look at the food and the seasoning and when we put particular spices during the different stages of the cooking process. That'll help you much better to determine when you should add the seasonings to your dishes. Second question is that we would like to use commercial deep fryer for deep frying. Is it common in professional cooking, or is it better to deep fry in a wok? Yes, you may use a commercial fryer for deep frying. The concern that we have is that when using a professional fryer, it's easy to overcook the product since there's too much oil in the fryer. And then when this fryer is used, it may consume the food product, meaning it may make the product very stiff if you overcook it too quickly. You'll need to learn how to use and manage the amount of frying being done for the fryer. So each type of commercial fryer, whether it ranges from 2 gallons to 5 gallons, it has different types of control features. So if you need to learn what low, medium, high, how fast to cook your product, it also depends on the quantity of your product too as well. Third question. What is the best way to make crispy cover for your meat to escape the sticking of the pieces to each other while you're deep frying? Well, this is what you can do. You can take the pieces of meat and lightly coat or dust them with a little cornstarch just before you deep fry. And you must be careful not to overcook the pieces of meat when you're doing the deep frying process. The fourth question, when I stir fry, they stick to the wok each time. Is there a secret ingredient or secret method when stir frying noodles? What you can do is prepare the noodles and soak them in water, and the amount of time to soak them depends on the type of noodles that you have. And then after that, you blanch the noodles in boiling water, and it depends on the type of dish you're using, but you need to boil them in water. Then you need to use on your wok a little more cooking oil on the edge, but not in the center of the wok, as you're stir frying the noodles, and stir fry it at a medium heat setting and not at a high hot heat setting. That will do the trick for you. The fifth question, what's the best type of wok to use? We're thinking about a 15-inch carbon steel wok for a small restaurant. For your purposes, for your small outdoor restaurant street type of environment, a 14-inch carbon steel wok is probably a common or general size, but you're okay to use the 15-inch diameter wok. It really depends on the volume that you'll be cooking. For larger restaurants, we'd suggest to use a larger wok size. But make sure you read our video, look at our video on treating a carbon steel wok. That tells you how to do the seasoning. Also, we do have that in our videos as well. The sixth question, we like to deep fry all of our meat. We intend to use only the top sides or quality part of the pork, beef, or chicken breast. Is it okay to use only the deep fried meat in all of our dishes? Yes, it's okay to use the top side of quality meat, but we must focus on the cooking process. If you cut meat into strips forms, just be careful on how long you deep fry the meat, since the meat will turn hard as a rock or like a mat if you cook them too fast. And also the thicknesses of the meat are important, because then that will determine how fast you can cook the food. You'll need to practice on deep frying and cutting the meat to the right thicknesses, so into the strip form. It also depends on the type of meat texture as well. If you're using beef or chicken, the cooking process may be faster for one or the other. You need to prepare and cut all your vegetables first, cook them, and then prepare your meat at the end of your cooking process. If you cook your meat first and then let it sit on the countertop, the cooking of the meat will still continue. The meat will then maybe turn hard or stiff, and there will not be a pleasant taste for your eaters. The seventh question: we're not going to use a big flame on gas range. We'll not have a specialized wok range with large burners, but use regular gas ranges. This may be okay, for your purposes in your small mobile restaurant, but for a restaurant that's larger, I think you should use something of large burners. But for your purposes, for a small trailer type environment, it is okay. You must learn that you need to cook only the foods in only two orders at a time, because the wok size and also the flame size is important. If you have too small food products in a small wok, then, if you have too small food products in a small wok, then your food will become watery or soapy, because then there's so much liquid that accumulate in the wok. So you need to be careful on the amount of flame that's used to cook your wok, and the amount of the size of the wok itself. So it takes a little practice. On smaller woks, you need to use smaller flame sizes. Here's the last question. At this point, I'll tell you a method that they're using, one recipe that they're creating, and they're going to give us an idea on what they want to be doing correctly or incorrectly. So what the reader is trying to do is they're going to try to create a crispy chicken and sweet and sour sauce, and they're trying to ask us what's the best way or process to cook the food. And this is the process they're doing, and we're going to try to give them some corrections on the right way to do it. So their process is the following. They're going to be cutting the chicken breast in small cubes. They're going to marinate the soy sauce, rice vinegar, white wine, five spice powder, ginger powder, sesame oil, cornstarch, egg, and MSG for about 5 hours. And then after that, drain it and then deep fry it. And the next part of the step is then they're going to take it out, put it in the refrigerator, and then to make the stir-fried dish, you're going to first put it in a wok with ginger and garlic, then add the vegetables of red peppers, onions, and mushrooms, and then add cold water for deep frying the meat, and then finally add the sweet and sour sauce to the end. So our solution to the product is that, or solution to this recipe is that you have to make sure of the following. Do not deep fry the chicken cubes because they're really small and they're hard to manage. You can marinate the dish into much shorter time. You don't need the 5 hours. You can just marinate as short as 30 minutes. Also, you do not need to refrigerate it. It's not needed to do that, because you can use the marinated beef right away. You must try to cook the meat also during the final method of the cooking process. Don't wait and cook the meat near the beginning. Cook it near the end. And also, there is not a need to use soy sauce, because this will darken the color of the dish, and also add unnecessary salt to the dish as well. So I hope these questions will help you further answer the questions that you wanted for your restaurant needs. You're welcome to respond to these questions and let us know what you think of this. Well, until then, we'll talk to you soon. This is Luke at wokfusion.com. Thank you.